I don't know if she's got New Balance shoes on this morning or not. Wouldn't put it past her. Mayor Erin Stewart, the mayor of New Britain. Boy, what a job she does over there. Good morning, Madam Mayor.
Oh, good morning, Brad and Dan. Good morning. No, I have heels on this morning. Unfortunately, I don't get to be comfortable every day. I'll be there someday. But, you know, us women have to wear these horrible things called heels that are going to give me arthritis by the time I'm 50, but that's all right.
Say, you have really, I'll tell you, one thing I was talking about you earlier, and Dan knows the same thing. One thing about what you do, Mayor Stewart, is you let your folks know if you're going to have a little problem, you were going to have a short-term pain, but we're going to do this. Columbus Circle, I know, and what you've done over there. What is the situation right now as far as the governor with the taxes? Is this going to affect? Your town?
Oh, yeah. You know, listen, I pride myself on being honest, right? That's how I came off from the beginning. As soon as I got elected, if you're honest with people, you can't go wrong. At least you're telling them what's going on. So last week, I gave my State of the City address, and it was great. We actually put it live on Facebook, so all of my 10,000 Facebook fans could be able to watch that as well. And it reached a lot of people, but the message that I gave was, well, the city is absolutely strong, and we certainly are on the rise. There are factors that are beyond our control that are going to affect our future, and that being the state budget and the unknown of that at this moment, and all of the rumors that are being thrown around and the bills that are out there about how much money we may have to pay into the teachers' retirement system. $7.5 million. That's the price tag for New Britain. That would come right out of our general fund. How to pay for those things, we don't know at this moment. So while we have our budget is under control, if everything were to stay the same, if we got the same amount of state aid, if we got the same amount of everything next year, we're going to be just fine. However, any alterations to that, we're going to have to look at additional cuts to services and how we're going to have to pay for these unfunded state mandates.
Mayor, and we're talking with Mayor Erin Stewart. She is in our Touch Points Rehabilitation Chair, Touch Points Rehab Interview Chair. Sorry about that. Mayor, are property tax hikes on the table?
So I was presented the first step of our city budget process, and that was from our City Board of Finance. And that did have a tax increase in it. And it had a tax increase in it because of the contractual obligations that we are required to meet for the following year. So with that budget, now, I had a lot of people message me that were extremely concerned that taxes in New Britain were going up yet again. And I understand that we have a very high mill rate compared to many other towns in this state, but I'm going to be working over the next month to create my budget. So I take what the Board of Finance did, and now I get to take my hacksaw out and chop away, and to get that down to a level that is zero. So again, every year we have to do the same thing. We've cut back on services. I think, we've cut over $16, $17 million out of operating government funds alone since I took office. We've rescinded over $30 million worth of bond authorizations since I took office. We've done a lot to cut back, but it gets to a point where how much can you keep cutting before you're affecting the everyday lives of your citizens? And that's what we need to try to avoid.
Are you at that point now?
I think we might be. We have to start thinking outside the box. We've got to start looking at maybe selling some city property, combining some city departments. I'm looking at combining our health department and our senior center and selling our health department building. We have to outweigh every option because in an effort to save money. And also, arguably, I have to keep people at work. The level of services that we provide for the 75,000 residents that we have are instrumental to the success of our community. And you start to chip away at any of those, and you're going to start to see a community that's going to falter, and we've worked way too hard to let that happen.
Mayor Stewart, where do you know something, all the things that you have just said, we talk to a lot of leaders like yourself, and they don't come up with it. I mean, you said this building we might have to sell. Some of this we might, but where are these all your ideas?
I have a very good team, sure, Since 2013, we've put everything on the table, and I will never forget that year because I came into office with a $30 million operating deficit. You put everything on the table when you have that much money that you need to make up in a budget. Every single thing gets put on the table, every crazy idea, everything. So, yes, these are some things that we've been talking about for quite a few years. We just never had to implement them. You keep them on the back burner. Worst case scenario type situations. But when you get to that point, unfortunately, you have to push the button on some of those items. So we're slowly working our way down that list. But the more important piece is building up your revenues so that you don't have to keep considering those options for cutting.
What's the mill rate in New Britain?
50.5.
Wow, that's high. No question about that.
It is very high. It is. And, we're a product of the climate in the state of Connecticut for a city. There's unfortunately really nothing we could do about it. If I wanted to get that mill rate down to 36, sure, I could do it, but I'm going to be laying off police officers. I'm going to be shutting down the entire fire department, making it all volunteer. I'm closing the library. I'm shutting down all of these services that are essential to the community, and I can't do that.
Now, I just wanted to mention, Mayor, I remember when you first were elected, and I remember talking about the situation in New Britain. I mean, it was unbelievable. And there were many that didn't think you could do what you have done in the short time that you have been mayor, but you have done it. And I think this is one of the reasons that you are respected by your constituents.
Thank you. I say we proved them wrong. We certainly worked hard. We dug deep. We were on the brink of bankruptcy. There's no doubt about that. We worked extremely hard to bring ourselves out of that. From the brink of bankruptcy and a $30 million operating deficit to stable finances, an A-plus bond rating, and a rainy day fund that is finally at 5% of what our annual budget is. So I call that a pretty good success story, if you ask me.
Now, Mayor, and we're talking with Mayor Erin Stewart of New Britain. Let's look long term. I know you're upbeat about New Britain. Talk about that.
Absolutely. There's so many things that are on the horizon for the future of the city, and this is what I talked about in the State of the City address. The theme was leading the way. We are leading the way in so many areas that really other cities and towns across the state can certainly take note of, whether it's energy and innovation or managing our finances, economic development. We're doing so much. We've got businesses that are opening up left and right, which are adding to our grand list, which is going to make, dealing with our mill rate even much easier. Unfortunately, we have a lot of properties that are tax exempt. And I talked a lot about that in my address. 48, almost 49% of all real property in the city of New Britain is non-taxable, which hurts us extensively when it comes to operating and maintaining that city budget. So we have to get creative. We've got to find ways. Our economic development office is pumping. They are working hard every day to make that happen, but we're on the rise. People are looking at New Britain a lot differently than they had before, and instead of looking at us and saying something negative, they're looking at us and saying, hey, maybe I want to experience the new in New Britain too.
Well, I'll tell you, it's amazing. It really, really is. How's your family doing?
Oh, my family's doing very well. Thank you so much. I'll have to tell my dad you said hello.
Please do. We need to get him on our show.
We want to get him on our show.
Oh, no.
Yes, we do.
Do that to me.
We talked about it the other day. Dan said, how about getting the mayor's dad on? I said, we're good friends. We'll get him on.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. I'll have to make sure I'm listening in very closely that morning if that happens.
So, Mayor, just to be clear, we got about a minute left. What you're saying is you were submitted a budget that includes a property tax hike. Your goal is to cut that down to no property tax hike?
Correct. But it is all contingent also on what happens with the state budget. And who knows if we'll get a budget from the state in time. I know the Republicans are certainly pushing to get a budget out by May. But if that's not, then that puts us in limbo as well, depending on how much money they're going to take from us.
So the variable then would be that teachers fund and what New Britain would have to contribute to, right?
$7.5 million, yes.
Wow.
Okay, Madam Mayor, thanks a million, and we'll talk to you again.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.
You too, Mayor. Take care.